So thank you so much for joining us today. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Annica. I am Sacred Starseed. I am the creator of the Wonders in Witches Oracle deck here. I put a lot of love into this deck, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're here. So thank you for taking the time to sit down with me today. I absolutely love your deck, and I've been reading with it for a couple weeks now, doing daily card pulls, using it with my tarot readings, and it reads wonderfully. I absolutely love it. And what I love even more is that it's not something that everyone has. I mean, everyone needs it, but it's usually around, especially this time of year, I feel like we always see the same two decks. So when I saw this come on board, I was so excited about it. And I'm like, everyone needs to hear about this.
Yeah, that was exactly what I wanted. The feeling of it to be is like something that you can use all year, but especially this time of year.
Yeah, and it's totally perfect for that. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about you?
So I am a mom. I have a 5-year-old daughter. She's super magical and she loves all of the work that I do. I'm a wife. I like to describe myself as like a magic woman. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I'm a Yoni practitioner. I'm an esthetician. I'm studying currently to become a death doula. I grew up in a funeral home, so the spooky stuff has always been a part of my life.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I'm just always learning. I'm going to be taking the Reiki Master class. I've done levels 1 and 2. I work for an amazing company called the Salt Lounge that focuses on mind, body, and spirit in Long Beach, California. That's where I currently live. I grew up in Wisconsin, though, so the metaphysical world is still kind of catching up out there, but I've been around it my whole life. My
So you were a
mom's friend.
cheesehead. Is that what they say about people in Wisconsin? Is that right?
Yes, cheesehead, and it is so true. Everyone there loves cheese. It's like a food group there, so its own food group is cheese. Cheese curds are so good if you've never had them. But yeah, I was lucky enough to grow up with, I was raised Catholic, but I went to a Catholic school that wasn't like the traditional Catholic school. They were very open-minded, very caring. There were people from all walks of life there. And I think that helped me to become the spiritual person I am today. But yeah, a lot of my mom's friends were psychics, healers. They all worked in the metaphysical. So I've been around this for pretty much my whole life. And then, of course, the death side of it, my dad was a funeral director. So we actually lived in a funeral home. So I have my own experiences with the other side as well. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
So is this your first deck that you've ever made?
Yes, it is. It's an idea I've had for a couple years, but I just never really felt like diving into it. Well, I never not felt, but I just felt like I didn't have the time. So when COVID happened, I was like, this is the chance. This is the perfect time. I have nothing on my schedule, so let's create this deck. So I did it. I channeled all of the messages. I created the artwork for it. This is my picture here right in the center. So that's actually me. But yeah, it was really fun to make. So I'm proud of it.
Yeah, as you should be. That's so, like, what a magical way to like spend a pandemic. Like, good for you. Like, that's so
Thanks.
awesome.
Yeah.
So what is like, what brought you to like tarot cards and oracle cards? Like, do you have a favorite deck, or like when did you get your first deck?
So the first time I ever dabbled in tarot, I was 15, and my mom had taken me to a tarot reader in Madison, Wisconsin, and she was like this dragon lady. Like she had black eyes, like she was the real deal. And I was like, oh my gosh, this woman gives me the chills. And we went home, and my mom had a tarot deck from the 90s. So we pulled it out, and I would do readings for her just every once in a while. Like we always talked openly about this for forever. And my great grandmother was a witch, not an open witch, but she was a witch. As we're discovering, like the more we speak about her, and so yeah, it's kind of been in our family line. But yeah, I started with tarot when I was 15, and then I got pregnant at 19, and more of like the other side stuff started coming up. So I got really afraid, because I wasn't ready for all of that. So I took a break for about a year and a half, and I dove back in when I was like 22. So the first Oracle deck I purchased was the Starseed deck on Amazon. It's like a pink deck.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And then and I loved it, but it just wasn't dark enough for me, because I really like the dark grounded decks. It was very light. So I got the Marcella Kroll deck, and I loved it.
I love her stuff.
Yeah. And then after that, I've just been collecting ever since. So yeah. The Work Your Light deck. Yeah, I was like, it's not the Stars, it's the Work Your Light deck.
Right, by Rebecca Campbell.
Yeah.
I actually just traded mine off for the same reason, because it's super, and it's beautiful, but it's super pastel, and it's just really, it's just not, I'm always saying, like, I like darker decks, I like creepy decks, I like weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a total creep, so like I did just traded mine off for kind of a darker deck. So this one is really perfect. And then I actually prefer, like, some of the cards that you get have like an entire paragraph, or they have, a couple sentences or anything. I love the one keyword. I think it gives it more meaning, because people can kind of interpret that and take that intuitively, like several different ways. So I really like that. Do you have a favorite card?
Marie Laveau. That's my favorite card, the Karma card.
Okay.
She's like my favorite spooky woman. I love, the Bats card. That one's great too.
I'm just gonna kind of show some of my favorite cards as you're like talking about it here.
Yeah, so the Marie Laveau card, I really resonate with her because her story is amazing. She was a mixed woman. And at that time, that was kind of like not a good thing, but she used it to her advantage. So she used her Caucasian side to kind of hear what was going on in households there. And then she used her African-American roots to, like, she did hair and stuff. So she was known as this like magic woman, but she would hear the gossip from both sides and use that to her advantage to become very powerful. So I love her so much. So that's my favorite card of my deck.
This one is my absolute favorite card. I just love it so much. The Graveyard for Grounded.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
So when you started making the deck, you were just tell me about its creation and like start to finish work. Tell us about your labor of love.
So I love October. I love Halloween. I start celebrating in August, literally. I start decorating in August, but we watch Halloween movies all year, read the books. So when I started creating the deck, I started thinking of symbols that were important to me or things that stuck out. And I compared messages from other Oracle decks to make sure I had like the main messages that people want to hear or see when doing a reading. And I kind of put them all together. I researched different like spiritual figures like Isis. Well, I've always been connected to Isis as well. But I threw in a bunch of different, I wanted it to be feminine, yet have that like grounded masculine energy as well. So as I came up with the symbols, I would come up with a meaning for the symbol, or I'd do a lot of research. So there was a lot of time spent reading about the symbols, the history of the symbols, what each symbol meant. So that alone was a lot. And then, of course, creating the images. So I would splice images that I found. I wanted them to have a certain feel to them. I didn't want them to be too like cartoony. I didn't want them to be too dark. So I did kind of like the perfect combination of all of that. It's kind of like a shadowy deck, which I really like. But yeah, a lot of hard work went into the perfect creation of the images and the meanings. So I think altogether it took me about 5 months to piece it, but I got it done.
And it's so great. I love the distressing along here, and I love how it's stark white. Like something about it makes the images so powerful, just like the black and white and then that distressing. Like I absolutely love that.
Yes, thank you.
And I have a question. So I have a couple questions. So just, I'm guessing, because I'm not sure. So are these the Wiccan symbols for the seasons, maybe?
Yes, they are. They
Really?
are. Yes.
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 Yay.
I
Oh my
wanted to
gosh.
put some witchy stuff in there as well. So that is what I did. I actually have the autumn Wiccan symbol as a tattoo.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Because autumn is my favorite season. I don't know a lot about Wiccan, Wicca, but I know enough to incorporate it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've only just lightly, like through reading and stuff for
Yeah.
my witchcraft journey, I've only lightly touched on it. And so then I was like, I think that's what these symbols are, but I'm not super sure, but that's really
Yes.
cool. That's really
Yeah.
awesome.
I didn't want to do like the typical symbols for them. I wanted something more historical.
Yeah, and it's so neat. And it made me do more research too, because I'm like, these are all the seasons, and like, oh, and the solstices. I'm like, okay, so that's
Mm-hmm.
probably why they're in here. Okay. So then my other question. So your key words. So I've never seen a spider come up as femininity, and I love this card, and it stuck out to me. But just tell me about this card.
Yeah. So I have had spiders surround me like my whole life. I used to have a fear of them, but now I respect them. The more I dive into my spirituality, and as I did more research, I realized that the spider represents feminine energy as well as like abundance, prosperity. But I didn't want it to have a dark meaning. I wanted it to have a lighter meaning, more powerful meaning in my deck. So I put it as the feminine card because spiders are very powerful.
Yeah, this is so weird, but my husband and I do a lot of like outdoor stuff. We're very into like saving the bees, and we have bee
Mm-hmm.
motels, and therefore we have like wildflowers and all this different stuff. So we were just out in the yard, and we have a big garden spider. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of afraid of spiders. They're not my favorite,
Yeah.
especially if they catch me off guard. And
Yes.
so, but my husband was just telling me, he's like, did you know that pound for pound, is that how you say it? Like pound for pound, the spider web, if it was put up against like steel, that the spider web is stronger. And I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
I didn't know
Wow. That
that.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Spiders are very powerful.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this was really neat, and I like that meaning of the card, because a lot of people, I mean, not everyone, but like a lot of people are afraid of spiders,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore you don't, if you're kind of afraid of them, you don't know extra little things about them, so that's really neat.
Right. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so how did you decide, like, for your sizing and your card stock? Like, did you just kind of go by your other cards and like what you really like? Like, I really
Um,
like this
yeah.
sizing. I think it's perfect, like, especially to shuffle and to hold. And I love the smooth cardstock. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
so easy to shuffle. Like, I really like that.
Yeah, that's something I found difficult with other decks that I had. A lot of Oracle decks are bigger and more square, and so it can be tough to hold them in your hands and shuffle quickly. Like it takes a little bit of practice with those decks to get a good shuffle. And I wanted something that was easy for everyone to use. So when I went into creating, I made the size the same as a tarot card. So I used the tarot dimensions for my Oracle deck, just so it could fit better in your palm. And then I liked the glossy look because it looks very sleek and it's also easier to shuffle.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
really like that. I mean, I have huge hands, like especially for a girl, I have ginormous hands. But so many people, and I see in so many of my different groups that people struggle, or they're like, I have smaller hands, or my cards are
Mm-hmm.
square and they're really hard to hold or to shuffle, that kind of thing. So I think that's absolutely perfect. Do you have like a deck that you specifically use this to read with, or that you pair it with?
I kind of pair it with all of, you can, that's the cool thing about this deck is it's so feminine and it's like completely balanced in feminine and masculine that you can use it with any deck. So, I feel like when I have used it with the Work Your Light deck, I have used it with the Marcella Kroll deck. My boss at the Salt Lounge, she just came out with 3 decks and I use it with that. She's an amazing, like her decks are awesome. So I always use it with that. I use it on its own. That's the nice thing about this deck is it pairs well with literally everything.
And I feel like so many of the witchy decks like leave out our male counterparts, and or just like maybe they're all pink or more pink or this
Mm-hmm.
and that, whatever. And there's so many men in witchcraft and spiritually and in
Mm-hmm.
Wicca and those different kind of things. So this deck is absolutely perfect. Like just like you said, it really is balanced, and I really appreciate that. It's not very often that you find both the masculine and feminine in there.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because men are starting to step into their power, and be more open about it. When we have people come into the lounge space, I see a lot of men check out the decks, and then their significant other or their girlfriends, friends will purchase the deck. And it's almost like they want it, but they're like, it looks too feminine for me. But I've had a few men buy this deck and they're really happy with it because it, like I said, it's anyone can use it.
Yeah, even my husband, he flipped through it and he's like, I really like this. He's like, it's for anybody. And
Yeah.
I also feel like reader level wise, like whether you're advanced or just beginner, like you can use this deck.
Yeah, that was the purpose. I wanted it to be easy enough for anyone to use. So the messages are very direct, and if you are new to Oracle, like you can just pick up on it immediately. The purpose of this deck was to help those who are beginners to boost their intuition. I mean, it's for everyone, but it's so simple. That's why I didn't create a guidebook, is because I wanted it to be a deck specifically for you to open your third eye and boost your intuition. And you know, whatever message you feel resonates with the card, that's what I want the users to say. So for instance, let's say the skeleton key card, doors opening, it could mean doors opening or doors closing, but the key may mean something to someone else. So I really just, that's another thing, like with the images, this deck, you can read it like by the words or you can read it by the image, and it can have multiple meanings.
Oh my gosh. I'm just so glad. I mean, your personality is like sunshine. I'm just so glad that you took time to sit down with us.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm going to look at my questions here. I'm not the best interviewer. This is my first time. And I'm
You're doing
super,
great.
super nervous. So let's see here. Okay. So how did you meant the deck to be used? Like, do you think it's mainly for like 3-card spreads, daily card pulls with other tarot decks, all of those? What do you think?
All of the above. I recommend, like I said, it's an intuition booster. So trust your intuition. If that day you're feeling like you just need to pull a card quick, if you need to do a 3-card pull, if you want to find a spread online that you resonate with, if you want to pair it with another deck, there's no rules with my deck. So whatever you feel drawn to is what I would recommend. So if you feel drawn to a 3-card pull, past, present, future, do it. If you want to just keep pulling until you feel like the message stops, do that. Yeah, it's very user friendly.
So since creating like your own Oracle deck, which you have to have such a stronger bond than with a deck that you'd get off of Amazon.
Mhm.
You know, this is yours. You put your heart and soul into it, created this. So how do you feel like that's like furthered your or like aided your spiritual journey?
I definitely feel closer. It helped me actually with grounding because I'm a multitasker, so I like to be like on the go doing a lot of things. And sitting down and putting my energy into a project helped me to feel so grounded, and recognize even more of what's going on around me as I sit and focus on something. So I feel like it has definitely strengthened, like my intuition, my spiritual bond, and I am hoping to create more decks as well in the future. But yeah, I really do feel like it helped me to connect even deeper into my spirituality.
Do you do readings for other people?
Yeah, I do. I do readings at my job. I do readings on the Purple Ocean app. I do readings. Someone could message me on Instagram or Facebook. I'll do a reading for them. Yeah, so I do them.
I will have to make sure that I get all of your information so I can link it down below so that people have it.
Awesome.
And for anyone watching that wants to see the deck, as soon as this interview is over, we will transition into the deck flip through so that you guys can see the cards also. But that was one of my questions is, are we going to be expecting to see anything else or new from you? Or is there something you're kind of working on or kind of dreaming up
Yeah.
right now?
I feel very connected to creating um, a deck that's, I wasn't sure if I wanted to add more cards to my deck and make it a heavier deck, but I think that my idea for my next deck is going to be its own thing. I'm going to incorporate different gods, goddesses, different. I want to incorporate like Atlantis. I want to incorporate, you know, just different like El Dorado. Yeah, it's going to be a completely different vibe than my Wonders and Witches, but it's still going to be like that perfect balance of feminine and masculine, and very spiritually in tune.
I like that. I like that it's inclusive
Yeah.
and balanced. I really enjoy that. Okay, so let me look here. Aside from your own deck, of course, what is your personal favorite or most used deck?
I'd say it's the Marcella Kroll deck. I love that deck.
Is that the Sacred Symbols?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It
Like the
has
red
the
deck?
eye.
Yes.
Yep.
I love her stuff.
I love that deck so much. She's just so cool. I follow her on social media, and I just, whenever she does a poll, I get so excited. I like totally am like a nerd fan. Like I love her fan. So I love that deck. And then of course, the deck that my boss just released, she has 3. One is the Boss Bitch deck, one is the Healer or Lovers and Friends deck, and one is the Heal Your Damn Self deck. Nice. And I use the Heal Your Damn Self deck every day. Her messages are also on point. So
that's really cool.
Those are the 2 I use most frequently.
So let's see. Another thing I wanted to get, where you're an independent creator, what was like the biggest challenge in from getting this deck together to getting it out to the world? What was one of the big challenges that you faced?
Photoshop. Photoshop was my biggest challenge because I'm not really a computer person.
Me either.
Even though like I grew up in the era of technology, I'm not great with computers. So it took a lot of patience on my husband's end. I'm so thankful for him. I felt like I was asking him the same exact questions over and over, but we made it through. But yeah, that was the trickiest part for me, was the Photoshop. And to some that would probably be the easiest part, but for me it was like, what the heck? Why do I have to click on multiple layers? And
oh yeah, I can barely turn the computer on. Like the only reason I'm on YouTube is because my husband is a computer engineer, and so he just takes all of it and sends it to YouTube. So yeah. I don't even know how to do that. So I totally understand. Let's see, what else? I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. What advice would you have for aspiring deck creators?
Just do it. Let go of your fear.
Just do it.
Just do it. That was something that was hard for me. Is I was worried that I was like, what if people don't like it? What if people don't want to buy it? Like I just had all these fears in my head, and fears manifest themselves. So you kind of have to just let go of that and just do it and put all your energy into it. It doesn't matter what other people really think. I mean, it does, but it's your project that you're creating. And if you have good intentions and you want people to use it and you want people to buy it and you want it to be used worldwide or whatever, manifest that, put that energy, put those positive thoughts into it while you're creating it instead of fear. Because like I said, your thoughts are very powerful. And so if you're creating something with fear-based thoughts, then the outcome is going to be completely different than if you were to create it with positive thoughts and love.
Right. That's so beautiful. And that's so true. I mean, and that's the hardest thing. People get hung up on, like, it took me forever to start the YouTube channel. I mean, it took forever. And then even just sometimes, like before I put out my first video, which is absolutely awful. But I sat down in front of the camera and I just like sat here and I was like, I couldn't get anything out. It was terrible. And it was just fear. Like it had taken a hold of me, and then I let it grow. And like, you just gotta just
let
start.
Yep.
Some people aren't going to like it. Some people are going to love it. I mean, that's that's with everything in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be everyone's cup of tea. So yeah, definitely just go for it, because, you know, otherwise I wouldn't have this amazing deck, which I absolutely love. So,
yay.
So what, I guess let's just close on what's something you would want everyone to know about your deck from you, the creator.
It's like I said, it's very user friendly. Anyone can use it. It doesn't matter. You can come from any walk of life. Literally, like I said, I was raised Catholic, and here I am creating decks and diving into what I love. Um, and I just feel like if you feel drawn to something, don't ignore that. So if you're feeling drawn to tarot or oracle, start researching it, dive in, instead of just watching the YouTube polls. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
instead of just sitting there watching the YouTube polls, but you're feeling very drawn to these polls, there's a reason for that. You can do it. You can be that person. So just follow your instincts, trust your intuition, and dive into your interests.
Sorry, I'm choking on nothing. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording. Give me 1 second here. Guys, thank you for joining us. This is Annica. She is the beautiful creator of the Wonders and Witches Oracle deck. And if you guys stay on here, we will follow up with a walkthrough of the cards. Thank you so much for
Yay.
joining us.